time on the weekend. Hello, friends. My name is Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I'm running Star Trek Adventures Express on the Gauntlet, and I will let my players introduce themselves, do any plugs that they would like to do, and then why don't you introduce yourself and then introduce your character, and then we will talk safety tools. So, Matthew, can I ask you to go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Matthew. I go by he, him pronouns. Today I'll be playing Victus Sidonis, the Andorian helmsman of, I forgot what the name of our ship is, but yeah, Andorian helmsman.
Interceptor.
The Interceptor, that's right, the USS Interceptor. He is a curmudgeonly, daredevil pilot, and he's on his mission with...
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you say? I missed it.
I just went to wid, and take it away.
Oh, nice. That's
Well,
too smooth for me. It's too smooth for me.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in rehearsal next time.
We're missing one of our stalwart players. So we'll move on to Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. Pronoun she, her. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for a little bit, but excited to be in this kind of session for new players. Excited to be playing the system, and I'm playing Dared Ita, a Betazoid communications officer aboard the Interceptor, and and he was last seen trying to decipher this unknown language from this species that we're definitely not supposed to talk to or violate the Prime Directive and get close to. So yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. Michael.
And I'm Michael. I go by he, him. I'll be playing as Ray Naris, our Bajoran security chief.
Sweet. And it looks like
Commander just joined.
You are joining us, which is fantastic. Hello.
Hi there.
I'm recording. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Fantastic. And can you do an intro of yourself and your character?
I'd love to. I don't think. What's my character's name? It's like Rendali, I think.
That's exactly what it is. Yes.
She has a picture.
I am Rendali, the moralistic leader, as I see it, of this group. For I feel the Federation's a bit too persnickety about the non-interference when instead the greater good should be put into consideration. I am a female Betazoid, and I am currently in a lot of stress because we've just got snuck up on by a bunch of aliens we're not supposed to be seen by.
Right. Yes. So let's do, so it's just to remind everyone about safety tools. We're using 3 safety tools. The first is open table. Feel free to get up and walk away as needed. If you can let us know when you're coming back, that would be ideal, but not necessary. The second that we are using is X card. This is built into our dice roller. If anyone says or does anything that you find concerning, please say X, hit the X card button, hold your hands up, whatever you need to do to get our attention so that we can rewind and redo what we just did. And then the last one is lines and veils. We have a tab in our character keeper indicating a range of subjects and topics. Some of them are lined. We will not bring those up in our story, and some of them are veiled. We are allowed to bring those up, but the main action happens offline. I encourage you to revisit the lines and veils tab and just make sure you are okay with everything there. All right. Any questions about any of the safety tools? Rock and roll. So we should do a previously on Star Trek Interceptor. Let me just rearrange my pictures here. Michael, you're the first picture in my Zoom. Would you like to go first? What is one thing you remember from our last episode?
Sure. Related to the mission or just in general?
Anything that happened in the last episode? What is something that we see in the previously on?
Okay. Yeah. I forget the name because I'm so bad with names. Yes, we have a Romulan defector on board whose name is Omak.
Yes. Awesome. And Danielle, what do you remember from last time?
I remember us having a slightly bumpy landing and being told that we're looking for the rest of the Romulan team, not the natives, and that we're not supposed to interact with them, which we are on, just walked directly into a cave with native markings on it.
Yeah, that felt like really good strategy there. Very Star Trek. Matthew, previously on Star Trek Interceptor.
Previously on Star Trek Interceptor, we have the show using as much as they can out of our celebrity footage, and we have Hannah John Kamen as our captain, opening the sort of like flashback saying, "Remember, as per Prime Directive orders, discretion is important to the mission," and it hard cuts to Sedonis, with his hands gripping on the controls, and with a very determined look in his face, and suddenly, bam, we hear the little boom, and it smash cuts to sorry, not smash cuts, it just regular cuts to our Bajoran with a look of distress and concern on their face.
Nice.
All right.
Perfect. Mander, anything to add to our previously on?
I guess that in the timeline, then we're all crouched in this like tunnel off of the main room, if I remember properly,
Yep.
with these short aliens coming in that our linguist is just beginning to understand their language.
Yep.
And we thought we could escape or hide by going down a passage away from the main room. But lo and behold, this alien snail is blocking our way.
Yes. Perfect. Yes. You turn and see a giant alien snail. It leaves behind a trail of slime, and that's where the fungus grows. The short indigenous aliens here eat the fungus, which causes various parts of them to glow because the fungus glows, which means that the snail can really only eat one thing, which is the indigenous aliens, and other humanoids. So I would not say that it is aggressive, but it is not scared off by you. I will start with Matthew. What does Victus do?
Sorry, just waiting, still waking.
No worries.
What
The snail is attacking. The snail is
snail
for you.
That's what we're looking for.
The giant snail is coming for you. What do you do?
All right. Very Kirkian, I dodge roll and draw my phaser, ready to and draw my phaser and. I'm sorry, I have to fire.
You're gonna shoot the snail.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't come all this way to this planet just to leave the snails alone.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm invoking. No, I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. Pause. I'm gonna go around and just hear what everyone else is doing. Amanda, what's Rundali doing?
Rundali didn't know that this snail was going to get zapped or stunned, so Rundali was actually going to try to parkour over the snail from the wall.
Love it. All right. So you're trying to get over the snail.
Behind it, basically, by parkouring off the tunnel walls.
Yeah.
Cave walls.
But this is like definitely a humanoid-sized snail in my imagination. Anyway,
okay.
Sort of like it is very large. It's taking up much of the tunnel, and I don't know if the snail has a mate. That's beyond it. We'll see. We don't know. We don't know. We'll see what the dice tell us. Danielle, what's Jared doing here?
I forget. Did it look domesticated at all? It's not like a snail with a little saddle on it or something. Okay. It's not because
These are not Smurfs. No, I didn't say.
well, like they're not like herding snails or something like that. Because he would try and mimic the language to give it a command, and it doesn't know if it like what it says.
That is so awesome. I feel like that's happening. Is that something Jared would do, or you're sort of maybe looking for signs of domestication?
He's gonna look real quick, but he's just like he's learned a few basic phrases, so he's just gonna start like saying stop, sit. Say, like in everything he's throwing the book at it.
I do feel like that's a very next generation thing. Yeah. It's the one person who definitely tries. And that's great. And Michael, what's Ray gonna do?
We had a native pass by the tunnel not too long ago. I just want to duck back real quick to see if it's clear so that we have kind of an escape route backwards. And I want to start kind of like, provided it's clear, start, kind of pulling people back away from the snail towards
Hey, you don't have
safety.
to go that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So awesome. Hang on, you know what? I should find like our dice roller. It's gonna start up a new one because I don't know that I've got the previous one.
If you want, I can just paste in the previous one.
Oh, do we have the previous one? That's what we're doing then. All right. So I don't know. What do we think the way is clear, or do we think like maybe there's some more of the indigenous folk coming? And you know what? It's dark and there's a lot going on, so maybe I will make you roll for that. So let's just do a bunch of rolls all in a row. You'll just need one for everything that you've described. I think just one success. Victus, since you're shooting, you're shooting at point blank, so I feel like you are going to hit it. But maybe we should roll to figure out, are you trying to disable it? Are you trying to stun it? Are you trying to kill it? What are you trying to do?
Absolutely, we're going for a stun setting, and we are going for an adaptive stun setting because I do not understand the biology of these creatures. So
Okay.
Obviously, yeah. And also because Sidonus might be crazy and daring, but he's not a killer. So.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I love it. So I feel like maybe this is a control because you're trying to exert you're trying to be very careful about where you shoot.
That's right.
And I'm going to say science because you are trying to assess the biology of this thing, figure out where's a good place to shoot it. Does that seem okay to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And wait, try to.
So you'll roll 2d20 and you'll try and get at least one of them below a 12. It looks like.
Yeah. Roll 2d20. 2d20. Wait, why did I roll an 8-sided die? Wait. There we go. Added a 12 and a 13 under a grand total of control plus science is 12.
Yeah, you squeaked it out. So so this thing is now stunned. That's what you were going for, stun, right?
Yes.
You were going for stun. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's stun, but all of these things are happening at the same time. So Mander, why don't you roll for Randali, who's trying to parkour over said snail? And yeah, my experience of snails is largely the Smurfs. So we did not decide. I think this is definitely let's see, it's daring. Maybe it's fitness. I feel like it's fitness.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is, and I'll give you command, acting decisively. So that's a 12. So, oh, you got 2 successes there. So you make it over the snail. You've got another success, like that you can spend. You can bank that in your momentum pool to save for later, or we can convert it into some kind of advantage now. And maybe what I'll say is the other side of the passage is fairly safe, right? You can spend it now to kind of guarantee a safe passage. What do you think?
Sure, I'll guarantee a safe passage. I think this is going to be where we're going to have to hide to.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. Derek, you didn't really get a chance to try any of your things, but I'm sort of curious to roll because what I'm hopeful may happen is that it turns out the snail was domesticated, and just as it was stunned, it was turning to you to be like, "Oh, yes, I understand." So let's see. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah. I was almost wondering if like he starts saying all of this at it, and then like there's phasers going off and people are leaping over the snail. I was.
I mean, can you not picture David Tennant going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like,
what is snail speak for Cirque du Soleil?
all right, so
Okay, so let's see.
I think this is science, right? Because you're trying to science the shit out of it. And maybe insight. Insight is more people.
Insight, or is it command because I'm telling it to do something? I'm like trying to literally command it.
I could also see presence, right?
Yeah.
These like all feel like they fit.
Yeah. I like presence. I like presence and command. So that's a healthy 16.
Okay. Awesome. I lost my tab with the character keeper, so I'm just opening that back up again so I can see it. Okay, 16.
Yeah. Awesome. Were you rolling physical dice, or you can use our dice
roll? Whichever one. I have physical dice. I was gonna start with those. Okay. I'll roll these, and then do I get to, so if I use a focus, that's just what happens with the numbers, right?
Yes.
So xenolinguistics would.
You roll a 1 or a 2 or a 3.
Okay.
You'll get more.
So that's 2d20?
Yes.
Okay, and that's a 2 and a 6. Or no, 2 and a 9.
So that's 3 successes. So the snail understood you. What did it do before it got stunned? As you were, what were you commanding it to do?
I think I was running through. I was like, sit, stay, roll over, and like it sort of looked at me, and it was sort of gonna like tilt. It started doing some strange twisty thing, which I think everyone else interpreted as like an attack, and then everything exploded around me.
I think can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it got weirder. You made a telepathic connection.
Oh,
you're a Betazoid.
Yeah,
it was like, what is happening? Like it was sort of this very innocent, I own a beagle, and I don't know if you've ever seen a beagle look at you like you are everything in the world. Like that's how the snail looks at you. Like, oh, what can I do for you? What's going on? And then it gets stopped. Does that seem right?
Beagles be like that.
That is true. I think in that case, as everybody's like freaking out, you see Darren kind of like, as it's stunned, he's just made a telepathic connection, and that hits him too. Kind of. I think it echoes.
So I mean, you got 3 successes. The one let you sort of say these commands. My suggestion is one of those is the telepathic connection, if you like, and then maybe another is you do stop Victus before the shot hits, if that's okay with Matthew, and if that's where you want to spend your successes. What do you think about all that?
Yeah.
Okay. How about it makes sense that the hit lands, but it's not it pacifies, it calms, and between the telepathic connection, sort of like all emotions are just kind of like soothed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phaser set to deep massage.
It's
Or
like,
I was gonna say phaser set to antidepressant, but I like that better.
Dude.
it's like, ow, ooh. No. And now it's connected with you. So we won't bank any of those successes. You will have used
Okay.
all of them to form a telepathic communication with the snail, who is now asking you, why did they shoot me? And why did that person jump behind me? And is some very pressing questions.
Yeah. I'm thinking, but yeah, if you have to move on to somebody else,
Yeah,
I'm
you think
just
about
thinking.
that. And we'll come to Michael and Ray. You are scanning the passage. Are you just like looking, or are you using tricorder? What do you think?
I was imagining just taking a quick peek around the corner.
All right, great. I'm going to say this feels like insight
Okay.
and probably security, right? You're kind of using your security expertise to scout the area. Does that sound?
Yeah, that
Right,
makes
you.
sense. So going up against 13.
Yep.
I got 1 success.
So what do you see when you peek out? What is it that you see?
I would like for the hallway to be clear,
I think that's
so that we don't get ambushed, either while we're going back or while we're taking time to push the snail down the corridor.
all right. So you've got a clear corridor on one side. Randali's discovered that corridor is clear on the other side, and we've got Dared, bonding with the snail. So why don't the four of you talk about what your next steps are? How do you kind of work out what's next here?
And just to recap, those aliens that are, according to Prime Directive, are not supposed to see us are about to walk in. Is that what's about to happen, or is
No,
that not about to
they've
happen?
gone down the passage. They're sort of leaving because I think you all made a lot of noise when you
Okay.
came in, right?
Okay.
And so now they're going to investigate the noise.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, they were very concerned about like that boom and like how it was affecting the people who are out already.
Right.
Yeah, it was the ship's rough landing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sonic boom.
And as a reminder, you're here to find some Romulans. There's some
Yeah. As it just BT dubs. I think Barrett is over there. Like when the adventuresome people are back, like ready to go. I think you see Darred like doing almost. He's still got a touch of the Vulcan prisms. He's like got one hand on the snail's face, just kind of like scritching behind one of the rocks a little bit, and is and will at least broadcast to Randali because we have telepathy, like understands like I have a connection with the snail thoughts, and is just like I think what he proposes, like he's gonna ask the snail, like he's very confused. He wants to project an image of like Romulans to the snail and being like, we're looking for these.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, I like that.
Yeah.
Ray, how do you report back to everyone that the way is clear?
Yeah, Ray turns back to the others, and probably has a confused look for a second, not realizing where Randali went. But it's just like the way behind us is clear. We can backtrack and find another way around.
I'm curious if I could just use my tricorder to like get a map of this place and figure out like where the Romulans are, and maybe where the aliens are, and maybe we can get to Romulans without intersecting the aliens. And hey, if snails show up in the scanner, that'd be great too. But who knows?
Randali, it seems like Darred has been trying to sort of telepathically broadcast to you what's going on with the snails. Are you what's going on with the snail? How do you respond to that outreach?
So are we? It sounds like Darrett is doing this, and maybe I'm just sort of like spectating and just letting Darrett do his thing, because it seems like Darrett's got it way in hand, and he's a linguist as well, so even better.
Yeah, I think he's like letting you know that like turns out it's less a linguistic connection than a psychic one, so just kind of like keeping you alert just in case something goes sideways or
Got it.
etc. Probably.
I guess I'm like spectating but not intruding, because I figure like two thoughts talking to the snail at once would be confusing, and so just let Darrett do that and sort of psychically listen in.
Okay.
So Danielle, maybe the snail is like, no one's ever talked to me before.
I think Darrett is like curious. Part of him wants to ask like, how do they normally talk to you? Does anyone? Is it only other snails?
I mean, it didn't even occur to me that you folks with the legs can talk at all. Like, I mean, we hear the commands and we have an understanding of what they mean, but we just figured that was all the communication.
You know, sometimes there are snails with different color shells or different other strengths. Where some people with two legs have different abilities. Like he's trying to communicate, he's trying to distill all of these like sense impressions and visual things for the snail, and is like I'm happy to meet you. Sorry, we were confused and scared. It is our first time. It's my first time to talk to a snail.
And this thing's like, what's a snail?
I mean,
I think I probably pick up on Ray's surface thoughts of, oh no, we just broke the prime directive with the snail, and like, what Starfleet say if you screw up like this? What do you do?
The snail says, this is not the first, you're not the first taller two-leg folks that I've come across. But they did not connect to me as you have. They seemed angrier.
Can I project like a picture of like the Romulans that we know of, and the Romulan in particular that we want to find?
Yeah. And the snail's like, oh yeah, those are the angry ones.
Ooh. We're hoping to make them less angry. Maybe we're hoping that maybe this can be a more peaceful place. He just feels so like, I think especially as a Betazoid, the idea of like a psychic species trapped on a planet with no other psychic people, like communication is so heartbreaking to him. He's like, he wants to be able to promise that like you'll be able to talk to everybody, but like they can't do that. So anyway, but he's just like, we don't want to alert the other two. Just take us to the angry ones, and could you help us with that?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. The snail kind of starts to turn around, maybe gives Randali a little bit of a look to the extent the snail can. Excuse me.
I'll get out of the way and let the snail lead. And Darren, while you're thinking these things, you probably picked up my character's thoughts of when you're saying, we want to solve this. We want to solve this and make them less angry and more peaceful. And, you know, thinking the image of the phaser and deep tissue massaging the Romulans.
So, Victus, you and Ray, you literally have no idea what's going on because all of it's been happening sort of telepathically. Victus, it looks like Darren and Randali are about to follow this snail down the hall. Victus, how do you respond? What are you asking? What does this look like?
I was hoping Randali was telling somebody out loud because he was busy with the snail.
Right. So the snail, the snail is sentient, knows where the Romulans are, and is going to lead us to the Romulans.
Victus just shrugs.
Oh,
No.
oh,
This is what the snail looks like.
heartbreakingly cute.
I'm so sorry, Dan. You were addressing the question to me, and who is the other person?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
Victus, they're following the snail. How do you respond? What are you saying to them?
I asked Darren, and who were following the snail again?
Randali.
Right, okay. Well, first of all, I think I shoot a look at Ray, and then I look at Randali and I go, Commander, are we now taking orders from the snail? With a raised quizzical eyebrow.
No, the snail
Because-
knows where the Romulans are and is going to take us to the Romulans. We're following the snail to the Romulans.
Are we
This-
sure
this-
that this is the prudent course of action? And I cite some Starfleet regulation, and I'm like, and I'm not trying to be like, snippety. It's just like I need to know how this like falls in line with protocol, with how we have a commander, we have a mission. Like when does stuff pivot towards taking direction from a snail, and what are the procedures to handle it? And I'm invoking Starfleet protocols. Yeah, to ask, to sort of advise our commander, like whether or not this is a prudent course of action. And I guess that would be insight and command, or insight and
So you want to roll to try and figure out if you can convince Rondali that this is a bad idea. Did I understand what you're doing correctly?
I think it's less convince them a bad idea and sort of like explore whether this is a good idea. Because
Okay.
if it is in line with Starfleet protocol, and if we figure out what is the procedure, like what are the causes and all that stuff, then I'll be like, sure, I'll play along with it.
I mean,
but I need to know.
I'd rather you all role play this rather than roll for it. So Rondali, it looks like Victus is asking you to quote chapter and verse on where does it say we should follow a snail?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. In subsection 4 of the contact with new races, that we should not trust implicitly anyone who's not of Starfleet and does not have Starfleet clearance. This snail clearly does not have clearance. However, it is possible that this is a neutral party. And according to my telepathic connection to the snail actually has strong negative feelings for the Romulans. So my sense is that the snail would be happy if we remove the Romulans as a pest to the snail.
Commander, isn't it possible that it sees us and the Romulans as the same and is leading us into a trap? I mean, I haven't seen anything else around here that the snail eats aside from what I assume are the locals.
Forgot about that detail.
Officer Neris raises an excellent point.
You're absolutely right. This could be extraordinarily dangerous. Do you have did my sensor scan indicate where we should go? Is there an alternative to trusting the snail?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Yeah.
You all should figure out what you're doing.
Let's do a sensor scan and see whether or not we can find the Romulans without the snail's help.
I think while you're doing that, Darren just sort of pipes up like, it was a surprise to hear us as he was to for us to hear it. He seems confused and curious, but said that there are they don't have a psychic link with the natives, but that the Romulans are it said that they were angrier than us, and it seems to view us as equals because we can speak its language, whereas the Romulans and the natives cannot. If that he just passing that on, as you can see the
Respectfully, the chain of command, I will always respect Commander, and I think you do raise an excellent point about the neutrality and the of this snail life form, backed by Officer Edda's testimony. It's I just think that Neris also gives us incentive to clarify that the snail will not see us as a threat. I have good faith in the rest of the away team to proceed as necessary.
So I sense that we're going to maybe follow the snail for a bit, but maybe also run some scans.
Yeah.
Just to see, are we scanning the surrounding area? Are we scanning the snail? What? Yeah. Who is scanning and what are you scanning for?
Scientist in me is definitely scanning the snail.
Okay.
The way I see it is that we're following the snail, but we're also in complete good faith, but we're also using science to sort of like corroborate where the snail takes us to what is like a reasonable path or a reasonable direction.
Okay.
Yeah. I also want to understand its biology to make sure it doesn't have hidden weapons. Just like a machine gun comes out of that shell.
So
I see that there's survivor skills.
So I'm gonna say, so you're using, I'm gonna call it reason and security, Ray, for your roll, which gives you a nice 16 to roll against. Victus, I assume you're doing the scan of the surrounding area to figure out kind of where everything else is. Did I get that right?
Yeah, if everyone else is occupied, then absolutely I'm glad to do it.
Yeah, and I think you are using it's a little hard, but I think I'm okay with you using reason and con, where con is sort of about navigation type stuff.
Sure.
Does that sound all right?
That sounds right.
So you're trying to beat a 12.
All right.
Sorry, refresh my memory. Does a tie count as a success?
Yeah, it does. So you got 2.
So I got 2.
And
once more, I barely squeak in.
And once again, you squeak in. So you've got Michael. You've got 2 successes. I think you can tell that the snail doesn't. You were specifically wondering, does the snail have any weapons or any way of hurting you? And the answer to that question is no. You can spend your other success to get more information, or you can bank that success. What would you like?
We have so much banked. I would like to know more about this ecosystem.
I think you realize that it only eats the humanoids when they are dead. So it's not like it will capture and eat a live humanoid. It sort of is.
Gotcha. So it has to be while they're breaking down, and
right.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, so this, I think you determine this snail is not a threat. Whether it's luring you into a trap so you die so it can eat you, I mean, who knows? Anything can happen, right?
Sure.
Victus, your scan suggests that the snail is leading you in the correct direction toward the Romulans. And if it's okay with you all, I'm going to fast forward to the Romulan encounter. Does that sound okay? I mean, I did not think we were going to get 45 minutes out of a snail encounter. I'm going to be honest with you. But
what? You did it?
I mean,
I feel like we could spend the whole series with this snail.
My character will take a little sample of the fungus that glows.
Okay.
Just because it's so cool. I mean, for scientific research.
And I totally, if this were an ongoing series, that fungus back on the ship would come back to haunt you. In fact, maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
first.
maybe that will
Maybe.
happen.
Yeah. All right. So the snail leads you to an area where it looks like the cave is kind of smoothed out. It's definitely an area that you don't see as much evidence of the indigenous humanoids having been down here. And the snail kind of pushes through a section of the cave that's a hologram. As you make your way through, you see the Romulan party there. And there's one person there who's clearly the leader. And she says to you, "It's about time."
You didn't exactly give us a map.
Rondali, I think it's
yeah.
on you.
Right. And so just to be clear, is this the spy that's been working for us?
Not the commander, right?
Yeah,
No, he's on the ship.
there are 4 people here, 4 Romulans. One is the commander and one is a spy. And I'm going to say, let's see, I'm going to see what they suggest here. But I think one of them is injured. Yeah, they've been injured because, in fact, several of them are injured because recall their power core malfunctioned and exploded. So they're sort of they've been sort of trapped here essentially because they're too injured to leave.
All right. And so this is the Romulan commander is talking to us, and are the other Romulans in the room?
Yeah, you're all kind of in this cavern area.
And do I recognize the spy that's working for us in the room?
Yes. Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't. Yeah.
All right.
I have
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just I have a collaboration. So if you're ever using command, when an ally attempts a task using this discipline and you assist, you can use my focuses as well as yours, and diplomacy is one of mine. So just like if I can, maybe I'm just standing there next to you, just like psychically linked, just like encouraging, like you got this, Captain.
I think it makes sense just to do a psychic scan of the room, basically, to see where the Romulans are at.
Oh, I see. Just to kind of take their pulse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you need to roll for that. I would say that you're the telepath, so you are definitely getting from the injured ones. You're definitely getting like, I'm hurt and I would like to get out of here. And from the commander, who's the only one who does not appear to be seriously injured, you are getting kind of we needed a rescue party, but we got this crew instead. That kind of sort of Romulan attitude. And I think Jared, you are getting kind of a similar just emotionally, some of them are in pain and there's some skepticism coming off. Does that sound
okay? So skepticism and not like a shame or like attempting to hide something of their own.
No, I think they want to get out of there.
Okay.
They're the scientists are very possessive of the research. So they're worried that you all will want to know what the research says or is.
Okay.
Well, we definitely will.
No.
While the bosses play diplomacy, I'm gonna go over and start tending to the wounded.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. Would Daenerys have the technology? She has the expertise. We just don't know if she has the technology to treat.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. I think we should roll, but I think generally you can. You can kind of get them fairly stable, but whether they can walk, I guess. What are you going for, Ray?
I mean, starting with assessing how bad off they are, and yeah, basically like getting them into a position where we can get out of here. I mean, we can give them like, you know, proper rest and everything back on the ship, but priority one is, you know, getting out of this cave, back to the shuttle, and off this planet.
Okay, great. And while we're doing this, Victus, what are you doing while Rondali is doing the negotiations? Matthew, I was asking, what are you? What is?
Sorry, I thought you asked randomly. Sorry, what was the question?
What are you doing while Rondali is engaging with the commander?
I think I would stand by Randali as she addresses the commander.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know Star Trek lore well enough to know like how Andorians and Romulans feel about each other. I can't imagine it's especially positive, but is it especially negative?
Well, it's the year. Is our time period in the TNG period or in the older period? We're in the TNG period. Okay, so I don't 100% know lore down to like the ancient degree, but my impression is that any race that is from the TOS era that is now an ally in the TNG era tends to be swept up under Starfleet. So
Right.
Romulans just don't like Andorians in as much as they don't like Starfleet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. But I think you're enough of a presence to maybe make the Romulans feel like they shouldn't try anything funny.
Yeah. Because the Andorians are not famous for being good humored either. So
And Darren, what are you doing while all of this is going down?
If Rondali seems like she needs backup, but as a Victus walks over to be backup, I think he just kind of sends a thread like if you need me, and then would go over to kind of be a presence by Ray with the wounded, I think.
Okay.
And to kind of like be comforting and stuff.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's roll Ray for your medical thing and just see where that lands, and then Rondali, maybe we'll roll to see what the negotiation, how that kind of all turns out.
And if they're saying, hey, if you need me, the thing I'd be pulsing back is yeah, how about you see if you can get some surreptitious communication with our spy?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think
so you're kneeling down to help the wounded as well.
Yeah.
And obviously Salutha was the name of the spy. And
yes.
All right. So let's roll the medical stuff first.
All right. While I'm doing that, I just wanted to specify as far as Romulans and Andorans. The Andorans were one of Earth's allies during the Romulan War, but I think that was a couple hundred years ago, so it depends on how much both sides hold a grudge.
Do Romulans ever not hold a grudge?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I rolled double 20s on my medical check.
Who died?
I kill all of them.
Wait.
extend your hands like the Messiah.
I can use a value to get a reroll, right?
Yes, but I'm taking a fucking screenshot of that because that is amazing.
Oh boy. I never roll that well in D20 games.
Oh, that's right. That's poisonous Romulans. It's okay with humans.
Oh man. This is not the time for
You treat the Romulans so well that all historical resentment towards Starfleet
just all comes
gone.
out.
So hang on before you re-roll, unless you've done it already.
I haven't done it yet.
That is impressive. Hang on, let me see what
every problem has a solution.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe I can assist you.
I just want to see if if the rules say you can re-roll one or two, both.
Oh,
I'm not
that is a
sure.
good question.
Lowell just says get a re-roll on a test after you roll. So I'm going to read this as you can re-roll both dice.
Okay. Great.
ooh.
Because that was impressive.
All right, let's roll these again and try better this time. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
What is happening?
Wait, is it the same thing? I'm trying to
I rolled a
open the-
17 and a 20. So in 4 rolls, I rolled 3 20s.
And we didn't
Every-
even say you were doing medicine and apparently daring.
Every problem does not have a solution. These guys are just straight up crippled.
All hail our new first officer.
So I think the outcome of that is their injuries are too severe for you to do anything to make it easier for you to remove them from this.
Maybe if we'd gotten here earlier, like they were expecting.
Right. Maybe if you haven't followed a snail. Reminder: snails are slow.
Listen.
So that was.
Yeah, if they can't walk, I think Darrett is like, I think maybe I know some mounts we could use to get them where we need to go.
I just got to making wisecracks the whole time, indicating that 20s are positive, and I forgot that they're absolute negative.
They're the worst. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we were playing very seriously, it would add a complication. And which might show up.
Yeah.
So okay, let me correct my wisecracks.
That seems reasonable at this point.
Yeah.
Let me correct my wisecracks. Instead, the doctor invents a whole new Romulan plague.
Yes. Now all Romulans are sick. Yes. So Rondali, I think we should roll to figure out what transpires. But in your conversation with the Romulan commander, what is it that you are trying to do? Are you just simply saying, hey, we're here to help? Are you trying to force them to share their research? What is your desired outcome?
Well, honestly, if we get them out of the research station, can't we just come back and snoop around afterwards? So, like,
I mean, I think the clock is ticking on the radiation. So you are definitely going to want to get off planet fairly soon.
Got it. And do I see like how they're trying to bring their research? Do they have like containers? Do they have data chips? Do I like see any of the research in some form?
I think it's just stuff in. I think it's just data that they've gathered because they were studying these humanoids to try and understand them a little bit better. And they're Romulans, but they didn't actually gather any specimens. So,
right. And our other mission or thing we want to know is there's like this resource, this plant that's on on this planetoid that we want to get more information about. I think that's like our primary mission, if I recall properly. Is that right?
Well, the primary mission is to kind of get information from the spy. The spy is needing to do a drop, and you can't do that now in front of the commander. So
got it. Yeah. Well, so what we'll say is, your crew here, they're too injured. We're gonna have to transport them one at a time, and to get them to safety. And really, what my character is trying to do is separate them by doing this transport,
Oh,
so
nice.
that we can have time alone with the spy, basically.
Okay. So why don't we roll to see how well you convince her, Valina. I'm gonna say this because she's a tough person. You need 2 successes in order to sway her. You are using probably presence and command. So so that's a 17. So when you on 2 dice, and then you can spend momentum, if it's okay with the rest of everyone, to add dice to the pool.
And do I need to do that preemptively? Spending momentum.
It seems like an important one. I'm just trying to scan to see if.
I definitely should have done that.
So
Well, no,
you
you should have expected that you would succeed. That was unlikely.
I mean, Mando, you're trying to get a 17 or less, so you are in fairly good shape to try and get 2 successes. But the way these dice have been rolling,
It'll be interesting if I fail. So let's do it. I'll just go a straight roll.
Okay.
Wait, are the rest of us putting in momentum for this? Or...
Yeah. Do we need? How much momentum do we have? Don't we have just 1 or?
It's like 3.
Yeah, the momentum
Oh,
pool is on the character keeper at the far left.
I'm
And,
totally
what are-
cool with
What are we
putting
rolling?
1 in.
So Mander chose not to, which is totally cool.
Oh.
You rolled a 3 and an 18, which is impressive. However, because of your focus persuasion,
Okay.
I'm going to say that 3 counts as 2 successes. So the Valina is reluctant, but generally cool with you transporting 1 at a time. I feel like we're at the top of the hour. We are, I don't necessarily feel the need to roll or kind of figure out how the transport goes.
It's clearly the snails.
Fail.
It's clearly the snail.
So let's do this. Let's take our break, and when we get back, we'll kind of put a cap on this episode and start the next one. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, everyone. So I've got 4 past the hour, so we'll come back in 10 minutes. So 14 past the hour.
Okay.
See you then. All right. So welcome back. So I think the removal from the cave generally goes as expected. Which one of you had a quiet moment with your spy, Salutha? Okay, Victus, tell me what the spy revealed to you. What did this look like? What did the spy? How did you and the spy communicate? And what did the spy reveal to you?
That took me a bit for a surprise. I don't know. I guess maybe revealed because I'm a paranoid, both as a player and a character. So I keep thinking maybe he revealed something that was not on the up and up. Sorry, not on the up, but sort of like surprising about the captain, about how the captain who was present, the Romulan commander, about how they did something that was at odds with the Romulan Empire's wishes, even.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be something I would explore.
Okay. So maybe the spy is the spy keen to be extracted, or is Salutha kind of is she ready to kind of be done with this, or does she feel like there's more work to be done?
All right, so I think I have an idea. Help me paint the rest of the details. Let's say that the Romulan commander placed orders during the mission that got a job done that were not like, but not really in concordance with Romulan imperial beliefs. And the awful part about it is that when they get back to, when they get off the planet and they are returned to their empire or to, any, official headquarters, the blame for that situation will fall upon the spy. And while spies are used to taking the fall for everything, this one was not, like was not in consent. It was just,
Is in your imagination, is Volina the commander aware of this, or is this something that's just going to happen when they get back home, and so the spy wants to be extracted?
I think it's more fun to say that that Velina does not know that it's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as you know. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. That's great. And I think just to kind of plant. Well, let's see. Darren, maybe you make one more discovery about the indigenous humanoids here. Do you have any ideas as to what that discovery might be? Maybe about how they've adapted to the gravity or to the radiation, or maybe something interesting about their culture that you learned through the snail?
I think that I think maybe he learns through the snail that communicating while moving prisoners or while moving Romulans, sorry, but
Right.
while assisting Romulans.
Yeah.
He learns that they are not psychic, but they've developed a way of signaling each other through the phosphorescence, which obviously we learned that, but I think that there's a level of control that they can like send, like they can make it pulse slightly or do something like that. So they have a nonverbal method of communication, which I think the snail probably mentions offhandedly, and Darren is like, I would love to stay and like learn more about.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's great. Sort of like this this itch that you will never be able to scratch. That's great. Rondali, I'm going to cash in Michael's 20s now for the complications. So although Salutha does not believe that Volina knows anything, something tips Volina off. That is to say, the Romulan commander now suspects Salutha is a spy because of something that happened during the transport. Mander, do you have a sense of what might have happened during all of this transport that tipped Volina off that Salutha is a spy?
By the way,
oh yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. By the way, I just want to say that I just want to put into context because I'm not sure if everyone read the chat, that the way I envisioned this whole situation with Volina and the spy is that, these spies tend to fall on the sword for their commanders, and they do it gladly. It's not a point of shame for them, actually. So,
right.
And that creates a lot of episodes in the franchise where, it becomes a moral, ethical conundrum.
Well, anyway, here's our conundrum. Now Volina is become aware that this is spies. Mander, what do you think tipped her off?
Let's make it obvious that all the scientists were getting copies and some storage crystal of their data. It was encrypted, and so our spy was able to give us the crystal and the decryption key, But when they're back together, all the Romulans, he's like, Salutha says, "Oh, I don't have mine anymore."
Right. So Salutha turns out to be just the worst spy in all of person. Yeah, that feels like a solid role.
Or there could be like a good technical competent reason, like Valina only has to authorize copying of the data, and since this was an extremist situation where there was this accident, authorized everyone to get a copy that's encrypted, and now the spy only had one chance. This is the only copy the spy had.
Right.
So it's not just maybe necessarily incompetent, just like they going on the falling on the sword thing, like, oops, I dropped mine.
So Valina takes Salutha into custody now. So you have this kind of weird dynamic where you are helping the Romulans leave the planet, but now they are going to hold this spy. And I was not intending to play this scene out, but if that's something that you all want to do, we can. But I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to ask Michael. You know how in TV shows, especially Star Trek, they will show the viewer something suspicious happening, but the cast, like the characters in the show, don't see what's happening. So now just picture the camera is settling on your shuttle, right? And something, some kind of energy form has affected your shuttle. What is it that you see? What is it that the audience sees to let them know that the shuttle has been affected by this energy-based life form?
Yeah, okay. So you know how the thrusters have like emit this kind of light and there's a bit of a trail.
Right.
We see that change color.
Okay.
And so it sort of like follows up the trail to the nacelles themselves and changes the color, and then it kind of like fades into the ship.
Okay. All right. I love that. So I was imagining this was happening sort of before anyone arrived, but what you're saying is like once the shuttle is taken off, we see that the nacelles turn from, I guess, their usual blue glow,
yeah,
to kind of an orange, like literally.
Yeah, I was thinking like orange, yellow. Yeah.
Yes, and it's maybe shimmery and pulsating, so it feels a little bit more organic. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so that'll be kind of the seed for our next episode, that the ship is going to become infected with an energy life form. So while this episode was down on the surface of the planet, the next episode will largely be on the ship. Should we kind of play out how the Romulan thing ends, or are we done with that? What do you all want to do?
I mean, I have the Romulan guests on our ship, and do we have, I don't know, cameras in our guests' quarters? Does the cast, does my character know what's going on?
I think, yeah, I mean, it's become very clear that Valina is aware of the spy, is made it very clear that although she is grateful for the rescue, that they're taking Salutha into custody to be tried as a spy. And a Romulan warbird is showing up to pick up this party.
The Romulans are our guests, not our prisoners. So we don't need cameras in them. But fortunately, we always track life signs on the interceptor. So that's not going to be a problem, I think.
Would it be possible to do some gambit where, we're helping the Romulans out in the sick bay, and oh no, Salutha is, dies.
Dies.
Wow. Ray, we really let Ray work on her alone. That's on us.
Ray, do your thing.
no,
I'm
we
so
meant
sorry.
not really die. Just make it look like.
I'm sort of happy to play that out. We can do some rolls to see how well we fake
Gosh, this
Saluta's
seems like a
death.
terrible idea.
Or we could just say, you know what, this is in Starfleet's hands now.
Yeah, but this is our own spy, though, that we're letting go into the wood chipper. We got to do something.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Well, actually,
no one left behind.
What would the consequence to the crew be? Like, you all are probably in trouble for letting this happen, right? Like,
for letting what
disciplinary
happened?
action. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was because of something that you all let slip, or something that Salutha was trying to do with you all, that Salutha's identity became revealed. So is there some kind of disciplinary action that's happening?
We have people on board the ship who are known to make stands against the authorities when they need to, and is commanding officer second in command who thinks we should do the moral thing and not the Starfleet protocol thing. And if we could get Victus on our side, then like I feel like we would be in a good position to like, let's make sure that she's okay, and we'll smooth over the Romulan thing later. Like, the fact that we won't have a spy there, we'll find a way to fix that.
So you're saying you will volunteer to go deal with Salutha being captured or being taken in. Did I understand you correctly?
I think so. I think
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how the situation was left exactly, but I think it was the idea of like, if she leaves with them, then they're gonna exert their own justice on her, kind of a deal.
Yes.
Okay.
They are. Yes.
Yeah, I think actually, so what was her scientific specialty? I think that Darrell would make an argument that we need her scientific specialty on board the ship, and this would be so great with Romulan Starfleet trying to craft some kind of diplomacy thing, like, we rescued you, no, you could show us an offer of thanks by letting us keep your scientific person to help us on our mission that we desperately need a xenobiologist. Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I kind of like where you're going in terms of, like, well, maybe you're making an argument like, hey, we just rescued your asses. Maybe let's look past the spy thing. I'd be willing to let you all try and roll to convince Valina of the merits of this argument.
Perhaps we could add into this, like, do we get a chance to actually decrypt the data and find out what the heck all this is about? That might affect our approach.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are successful, what you'll have to do is sort of give up any of the data that you might have grabbed from the Romulans. Like, they would want to make sure that you cannot steal any of their research.
Nice. Okay, so we don't get to see what's inside of it.
Yeah. So let's do this. Hang on. I want to see, because I know he's got cooperation here. Hang on. I'm gonna say that this will require 3 successes to convince them, and
I will help out any way I can for this to happen.
Yeah, there's a couple. Rondali you have something that, as long as somebody's if you assist using command, you or someone else can re-roll a d20, right? And I have collaboration, so if we're using command, then someone else can use my focus. I'm just trying to see how we can pool stats.
I mean, I'm thinking about negotiating differently. Like we could say, for example, yeah, this is our spy. Our spy got all your data to us. Commander Valina, think how bad it would look if your superior found out what happened. We'll make this all be hush hush if you'd like. I'm thinking about just turning the tables.
So so this is how this will work. Each of you, or there's one person who's doing a standard roll of 2d20. You can spend momentum to add extra dice to your roll. Other characters who are helping each roll 1d20 and have to score, and then can add any of their successes to the pool.
1d20.
Yes, so you're rolling 1d20, and generally, so this will be presence and command. So you're all trying to beat your own presence and command.
7 against a 13.
So be 13 for Victus. Yeah. Who is doing the main role?
I mean, I'm pretty good at negotiations, and I'd like to say to like Valina, like I just said, like, here's the broken data crystal. Can't read any data off of it because it's broken.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
We found it. You can have it back.
Right. And we rescued your asses, so maybe let our spy go.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's too bad. Oh, even better. It's too bad Salutha died in the accident. Terrible.
That's good. All right. So you'll do the main roll. You're going to roll 2d20. Do you want to spend momentum to roll another d20?
How do you guys feel? Do you want to like do some danger and have some fun complications if I screw up?
Well, we're assisting. How many people are assisting? I'm assisting, or is it just Victus?
Victus said he was going to. Darren, are you going to?
I figured I would too. Yes.
Ray, how do you feel about it?
I can try.
Do or do not.
I don't feel like the dice gods are on my side today.
So each of you is gonna so Rondali, you're gonna roll 2 dice unless you want to spend a momentum to roll a third.
Oh, sure. We have enough plot going on with this space alien that we don't know about yet. Let's I'm down for it if you guys are. So I have got a 2d20. How about so am I ready to roll the dice? Does that seem like a good thing to do now?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to click the 2d20 and then the 1d20, and we'll add them together.
Michael.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm sorry about my thoughts and prayers. I sent the wrong thoughts and prayers.
I just don't understand.
I rolled a 4, so I'm assisting.
So that's 1 success. Victus is a success. Rondali.
You'd be great at D&D today.
Seriously, can we change systems?
Yeah, he calibrated thoughts and prayers for the wrong system, Matthew.
So I did a 17, a 10, and a 20.
Yeah, that's rough. So your 17 is a success, and your 10 is a success. So we've got 4 successes. We're trying to get to 3, so that's good. So you've got 1 extra one. But your 20 gives us a complication automatically. A 20s always give a complication.
Yeah.
So
you wished for plot too hard before you rolled.
Let's see. I think what we'll do is you'll bank the extra success if that's okay with you. Oh, yeah. Gosh, time flies when you're on the Starship Intercept. And then and I'm going to save this complication for another time.
Okay.
You have recovered the spy. The Romulans are gone. Tamal, your captain, is like not happy with you all at all. It's time to unwind. I think we captured favorite holodeck programs. So you're kind of unwinding between missions. Remember, the audience has seen this alien life form infect your shuttle. Michael described what that looked like. Danielle, can you tell me, what does it look like now that the shuttle is back on board the ship? How does this alien life form, what does the audience see in terms of the alien life form leaving the shuttle and going into the rest of the ship? What does that look like on the screen?
And this is the mystery one that we don't know about.
Yeah, this nobody knows about this one except the audience. The
Okay,
audience is
and
watching this unfold.
did we get a description of what this is, or it's still also mysterious? Okay. I think that you see the the doors hissing open and you see everybody leave, and then you get that, in that fun like late 90s special effects way where it looks like something that's invisible, things look distorted behind it, so it's kind of like
nice.
Slithering out. But as in it, when it stays still, it kind of blends in, but it looks like it's almost like rippling through the walls, like either it's an invisible jelly that you see through, or it's like a reality warping thing.
That is such a Star Trek Voyager move. I felt like we saw that every other episode on Voyager.
I see we're still in a UPN budget.
Yeah.
That's like my nostalgic Star Trek.
That's so good. Yeah, that's so good. Mander, what happens when the rippling kind of goes through a person? Like, what does the person notice it? Do they not notice it? Do they pause? What happens?
I mean, it's a Star Trek. They just drop dead.
Nobody drops dead on Star Trek.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll make it softer then. You know what? All devices on them that have a power source instantly get drained. Like their communicator, the badge, any tech. Zip.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Like they go to hit their communicator and it's like it's malfunctioning. And like,
well, it doesn't even chirp.
Yeah, it doesn't do nothing happens. They're like, what? All right, I gotta go get this fixed. Yeah, and maybe as it moves through consoles, the consoles kind of do that flashy thing.
Or if you want to do a harder move, they flash and turn off and don't turn on.
No, I think we're just kind of getting a sense of like,
okay,
we're just giving the audience kind of a sense of something bad is happening to.
I like that because it could fly under the radar for long enough to really blossom into a problem.
Right. Let's see. We did Victus's holodeck program. So let's see what other. Maybe Jared. You've gone off to go visit another culture in a holodeck program. Is this, maybe we can make it easy for ourselves? Maybe this is like an Earth culture. Is there one in particular where you think Jared would go to just sort of relax a little bit? Maybe where he is immersed in lots of different languages?
Trying to think of I think he probably varies between like he normally is in one where he's probably like has a fondness for like 1990s New York or something like that, where he's like walking the streets and it's like people carrying big boom boxes on their shoulders and lots of people like walking through Little Italy and like Chinatown and all these cultures. But then when it's really stressful, I think that he goes to a holodeck program of like a hot springs in like some more of the beautiful view, probably like in Japan, where it's just like super quiet and like a snowy hot springs. And I think after this mission, I think he might be like you might get a shot of him just like relaxing, and it like pans over to see like a beautiful, and like maybe there are some monkeys, but like you see a beautiful shot of like Mount Fuji in the distance.
That's awesome. Yeah, 90s New York I could have done no problem. But
well, that's I think that yeah. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Matthew.
No, I was just gonna say, like, and it's 90s New York style because they've got trench coats or coats that are about the size of blankets.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Well, I think that like it's one of those things where maybe he like went in intending to hit the button for like the hot springs, and then is like, oh, okay, I'm here, and is just like wandering around like looking for a cannoli or something. So, like he wants to order cannoli in Italian, like that's his.
Since we had Ray and Victus in the last holodeck program, maybe you've dragged Randali with you to this.
Yeah.
How does Darad kind of explain the appeal of this kind of quiet Japanese retreat to Randali?
I think it's pretty easy for him to say, he's like, you've been using, your powers. You've been using your powers a lot. I've been exercising that. And this is just a place where you can not have that input, and just like, where the outside can be as quiet as the inside needs to be. And I just feel like our fearless leader could use a retreat.
Randali?
All right. Randali begrudgingly goes, okay, fine, I'll do this with you. And you like cut to Randali splayed out with like two eyes in this hot tub, and like, holodecks usually seem so fake. None of the characters you can read, so it's fake. But in this, it's really convincing.
Commander, your audio is roboting quite badly.
It just totally went.
I mean, I love every second of that because
I thought it was a holodeck disrupt. I thought the holodeck
worked.
I heard that like holodeck programs normally seem so fake, and then that was it.
I'll say. So it's like Randali says, like, begrudgingly says yes because holodecks, and then smash cut to seeing Randali with cucumber eyes in the hot spring, saying how really normally holodecks are so non-convincing because you can't read the thoughts of the people in there, so it's obvious all the time it's fake. But now there's no humanoids around. It's pretty convincing. Good call.
Yeah, and I think you just see like Darad fully down there with just like a hot towel on his face. It's like, yeah, I know, right? This is just, I thought you did a great job. And you got to make sure it's important to recharge.
But can we like imagine this scene is happening where we're just like furrowing our eyebrows because this is all voiceover because we're both Betazoids?
That's good. Yeah, just sort of, and it's got that kind of slightly echoey sound.
Yeah, that the 90s shorthand for telepathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Victus, how are you unwinding after that mission? What are you are you also doing holodeck? Are you in the gym? Are you hanging out at Tekin Time? Or are you talking to Idris Elba? What are you
I was
doing?
gonna say, let's go to the bar and have a drink with Idris Elba.
That's awesome. By the way, I told my wife that we chose Idris Elba to be our bartender, and she was like, "That is so perfect. That is like that. If they were making Star Trek like that today, that's what it would be."
He'd film a week's worth of work and be like, "Goodbye.
I'm out. I gotta go make James Bond now." Victus, what do you? What is it that you? I feel like you would engage in a philosophical discussion with the bartender. Maybe you're sort of picking apart the last mission and how that went for you.
Yeah.
What is it? What are some of the things that you might say to Idris? I just call him Idris.
Yeah. Well, we can call him Sidri, which is just a anagram, but sufficiently alien. Yeah, and talking to bartender Sidri, I'd say, like, I'm trying to process the idea of the Romulan Empire like being so tightly knit. Like, never mind its questionable politics and freedoms, but how it is that it would drive someone to be a spy, and how do they reconcile that with being helpful to the mission that they're on. Like,
Nice.
those feel like such contradictory impulses to me.
Right. And maybe Sidri is like, well, have you ever had to have you ever experienced any cognitive dissonance like that, where you felt sort of a moral obligation to do one thing, but also felt conflicted about having to do it?
I say moral dissonance has never made sense to me. I do not know if this is a characteristic of the human federation, but for us Andorians, when we see something that needs to be solved, we do it. We do not question, and it's not about being rude or being disrespectful. It's not about trying to dominate the situation. It's always about looking at what's best and what's good for everyone and taking the steps necessary to do it.
So if the Federation asked you to, say, alter your appearance so that you might blend in with some Romulans or anyone else, would you do that because Starfleet asked you to do it?
I wouldn't do it. I would do it for Starfleet, but I would do it insofar as my faith in Starfleet remains assured.
Nice. Love it. Let's just switch over to Ray and figure out, Ray, how are you spending your little bit of downtime?
Refreshing myself on Romulan biology. No, I think Ray is definitely still like doesn't feel like the mission's over until she's done the kind of cleanup. So like she's making sure the logs are all synced and that like all of the data that they got on the snail people and the local population is all like logged and cataloged and all of that kind of stuff, so that they are prepared for their reports back to HQ.
Okay, I like that. I had this idea for a question that I was going to ask one of you. I imagine that, or a very typical Star Trek thing is when you all get back to the ship, one of you learns like, hey, we're going to go pick up someone, or we got a message from someone in your, like, to kind of create a B plot. And Ray, I wonder who from your past, who from your present might you have gotten a message from upon returning from the away mission?
Ooh. Starfleet related or just in general?
It could be, I mean, we can make it work with anybody. So
I was thinking someone another Bajoran that Ray escaped. The hell planet did I say she was from? That she escaped Valo 3 with.
okay.
I imagine that they also kind of enlisted, but whether they're still in Starfleet or not is something that we can figure out.
Okay. Maybe the message is, based on maybe they are in Starfleet and they heard, hey, based on your next mission, it looks like your ship's gonna pick me up, right? So we'll get to reunite briefly. Does that sound okay?
That sounds very exciting.
So we should maybe before next time come up with a name for that person. Ray, as you're doing the stuff, kind of tidying up the logs, we get kind of some of that weird energy reading. What sort of anomaly do you notice that makes you kind of think, oh, something weird is happening?
Well, we said that when it passes through, like power goes out, right?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty weird. That's that's not a thing that really happens. I mean, the especially if it's like this, this terminal here goes out and the one over there is fine. Like they're
Right.
all on the same system. So I'd be like, that's really weird.
Is your instinct to try and figure out what's wrong with the terminal, or to go call someone, or just go to the next terminal?
I guess the question is like, if it doesn't come back, if it comes back on immediately, or after a couple seconds, it'll probably like, oh, that's weird. If it doesn't come back on, probably just go over to the other terminal and call someone to actually deal with that, because it's not
I
my
say,
department.
I think just for the purpose of following the arc I intended to follow, it does come back on, but everything seems maybe just a little bit off, or you kind of get a sense of that orange glow kind of lingering a bit. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that seems like a thing that I should probably call someone about.
Okay. So we will end Ray's thread on you calling down to engineering. We've got Randali and Darred on the holodeck. What weirdness starts to happen on the holodeck with some of this energy stuff moving through? Do you change scenes? Does maybe an unexpected character appear? Does it get Westworldy? Like, what do we think is happening? Mander, do you have an idea?
What popped into my mind is that really luscious warm hot tub with, I got my cucumbers in my eyes, suddenly gets freezing cold.
And like, we look up and we're in like Siberia, and it's like, what? One of the snow monkeys comes over and it starts speaking in like Arabic at us. Like,
I was going to say, the monkey starts talking.
Yeah.
What is it saying? Xenobiologist? Xenolinguist, I mean?
I think it's like, I think it's asking questions. Like, I think it walks over and like, why are you here? Why were you? And it's like, what? No, we're here. It's asking like, what are you doing? Like, it's like asking big existential questions.
Yes.
Like, just enough to like ring a faint alarm bell in Darred's mind to be like, what?
That's perfect. That's perfect. And it dovetails exactly with what I'm hoping. These are energy forms, so there'll be multiple energy life forms, and they have a natural curiosity, inquisitiveness. So they are now embodying different things to ask questions. So.
Okay.
Does our character, do we sense like, well, that's weird. In this holodeck program, it has sentience. Does that happen?
Sure.
Yeah, because I think you would probably pick up. I think Darred could get emotions / like emotions, but yeah, hearing you being like, no, this feels genuine. I definitely think, yeah, both of us pinging on that makes sense.
And we will end our episode on Victus. Victus, one of these energy things now suddenly takes over. If everyone is okay with us, takes over Sidri or Sirdi, the bartender. Is everyone okay with a little mind control thing? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an NPC, and I mean, this is so typical Star Trek. So he sort of changes somehow, just in a slight change in his appearance that maybe Victus picks up on. What do you notice that's different about him? This kind of sudden change in him.
I think body language would be the most like telltale sign that that would change. But let's say let's say that Sidri's hair starts to sort of like loosen a little bit over here, so it feels like it becomes silkier, and his eyes change color.
Yeah, I think you start to see kind of a little orange glow kind of ping
Yeah.
in his eyes a little bit as
Yeah,
the
let's do that.
Sorry.
I was saying, let's do that. Let's turn blue eyes into orange again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't stay that way, but as that sort of settles into his neurons, you see that. It too is asking some big existential, but also childlike questions. What do you think it asks you?
It asks, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of nation? What is the purpose of nations?
Oh,
What
that's
is the
good.
purpose of factions? Like I don't know what the word is. It wouldn't be nations, but it's definitely questioning the existence of
Empire.
of people arranging themselves into like faction geopolitical states
Yeah, I love that. Like it's sort of discovering these concepts
for the very
in-
first time.
Yeah, and it's like why would you divide yourself into groups? Why would you
Yeah.
do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And I think what we will do is end on the captain's voice coming in over the intercom saying senior officers to the bridge. And we will end our session on that note. Does that sound okay? Very cool. If you all are okay, I'd love to do some stars and wishes. Cool. So I'm going to start with last time. Start with Matthew last time. So Michael, why don't we start with you? Stars and wishes.
Oh, sure. Definitely Danielle for the stuff with befriending the snail. That was all amazing.
That's where I was gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all on board with the snail. Matthew's stuff with Sirdi and the existential stuff I really enjoyed. Like it's cool getting more into like what makes his character tick. And all of Mander's stuff with like the spy side. So like, trying to navigate the situation with the Romulans. I really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, that's great. Any wishes for next time? Anything you'd like to do?
I would like to roll better.
No, it's more fun.
No, this was great. I'm really excited to get into stuff with this alien being next time.
I mean, ideally, if someone's gonna roll badly, it should pass from session to session. So maybe
that's true.
Maybe
True.
I will catch the dice disease.
We'll just pass that over.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Danielle, you are up. Stars and wishes, if you like.
Yeah. Honestly, like the way I really enjoyed, even though I knew all the players are like, we're psyched about the idea of this snail, I really loved how Matthew and Michael, I really loved how Victus and Ray took that very classic, like Starfleet, like let's argue about whether or not it's trying to eat us or whether or not we should be, when you're like, are we violating the Prime Directive with a snail? It just felt like such a rewarding beats to have that opposition, even though we didn't, we're like, we all like this idea. I really relish that. And yeah, Amanda on coming up with a cool spy thing, and also like the coming up with a reason why holodecks would feel weird for like psychic races was such a great little touch. Like I'm constantly, because like you go there because you want the silence, but at the same time, the silence is unnerving and it's like a cognitive dissonance in a way that it wouldn't be for other people. And that was like so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, for Matthew for leaning into the Starfleet stuff, and Michael for rolling with the roles, as it were. I know it sucks when people like make jokes about your character sucking at something because of just really crappy roles, but it was such a great narrative moment, so appreciate your patience with us.
And wishes. What would you like to see next time?
I am curious about something I really love in Star Trek is like when the weird alien thing pulls things from everybody's like backstories or sometimes, or like, you know, like when the thing like, yeah, mimics somebody that you know. Like if some of this could like echo people's backstories a little bit, like you had the call from somebody that you knew, it would be cool if like a few of those things popped up. Not nothing big, even if it's just one person or something. That's always fun when it gets like uncomfortably personal for people. You're like, this is an alien, and suddenly it's like, nah.
No, you wear the face of someone I knew. How dare you? I
Yeah.
know it's not you, but I will treat you like you are the person I remember and feel
Exactly.
really bad about it.
Yeah.
I will do my best. That's awesome. Mander, stars and wishes.
A lot that I would have mentioned have been mentioned already. So yeah, the snail, the Star Trek challenging, like, is this up to regulation? Also, I'm still really enjoying the collaborative world building, in the sense of like having these questions are asking, like, what's it look like when the alien comes aboard the ship, and that description that comes, you know, what's it look like when it's passing through corridors. So all those bits of shared creativity, I'm imagining it in my mind when you guys are talking about it. It's great. As far as wishes, I don't know. The time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Make a time machine.
Wish for more wishes. Wish for more sessions. Yeah, big star to Dan for being the snail. Like we wouldn't, if the snail wasn't awesome, we would have left. So big star to like.
I feel like a snail comes up in about every game I play, and I hate snails with like an unabiding passion. So I don't know why I must be working through something. So
it has to be because you put the snail there and then you were like, does anyone else want to X card it? I hate snails. Like, I mean, we're fine, but are you okay?
Oh yeah. No, I feel like I'm definitely like trying to get over something. Like I feel like this is therapeutic. So thank you for doing that. I cannot believe how much time we spent on that snail. I feel a little badly.
No, it's good.
About it.
I feel like
it.
Yeah, it helped. It felt very classic Star Trek. Like I felt like, yeah.
It was our first contact.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, even though you feel like it took a lot of time, like the rest of the time, so much got packed into it anyway.
Yeah. Great. Matthew, stars.
And you know, segue, that is in fact my star. How much you know stuff you packed into this like session was just insane. You got spy intrigue, and you've got like, you know, the classic rec room, like existential crisis, whatever, and you've got like, you know, recruiting, and you know, I mean, whoever's watching this has already watched the episode. I don't need to go into a list of everything that happened. So that's my big shiny ass star for everyone. And I also like, I also enjoyed the small moments. So like, you know, everything that happened with Mander, with Ranley, even down to the parkour stuff was amazing. And you know, the questions that Darren brought into the episode proper about like whether we should do this thing or that thing, or you know, like, you know, person, that was also, you know, great. And everything that also happened with Vayner is that is kind of, you know, you rolled with it, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I love that. I think I want to thank Dan personally also for just, you know, helping me connect with the juicy stuff I really love, which is like the drama, the moral stuff, like, and even throwing me a, like, I have to admit that in a lot of games when a GM asks me to come up with something on the spot, I'm not the greatest at it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I outline it in very vague, broad terms. But when you gave me that alien stuff, you know, I felt very, very, very empowered. And so that leads me to my next wish. My next wish is, so just as much as Danielle like and I have been joking in the chat about TV stuff. I really love TV Star Trek and everything that entails. I want to make a wish for like the broad, dumb action stuff. And by broad, dumb action stuff, I mean like, you know how these action movies, they always have like a high concept that they either fulfill amazingly or fail at spectacularly, and it's kind of okay. And so the thing I gave you earlier about the aliens saying like, oh, why do you divide yourselves into groups and into states? That comes from a little joke I used to make on comic book forums, which is that if the Green Lanterns like saw like the reason why Green Lanterns make a big deal out of the humans becoming Green Lanterns is because they're like, guys, that's like the redneck, like, you know, cesspit of the galaxy. Do you know they still have countries in that galaxy? Do you know they still have like different world leaders? Like what? Like, because when you see alien cultures in sci-fi movies, they're always like Vulcan, Romulan, Klingon.
Right,
Like they're
right.
they put aside all their differences so that they can mess with the rest of the galaxy. And so just to keep that, just sorry, I know I'm running it a bit long, but basically I want that high concept, the idea of an alien that, or a nemesis that's all like, let us erase all borders. Let us all, you know, if we were all one, rah.
That's interesting. I can play with that.
Yeah, and if you don't, that's fine. Just anything high concept that you can imagine too is also exciting to me. Like, you know,
Yeah,
Like
the big dumb Abrams Transformer.
it's just
Marvel
like
movie.
like the menace has a thesis statement
Yes,
of some
right.
kind.
Yeah, certainly the scenario that I'm using here from Modifius, it's a little bit more innocuous. What the alien life forms are trying to do. It's basically just sort of curious, right? They're just sort of curious about this. But I like the idea of like maybe they're running an experiment.
Yeah, that's very Star Trek too. And curiosity can also be destructive.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
That's great.
but yeah, exactly, Danielle. The villain always has a thesis statement or a very long Twitter thread that begins with, in this essay, I will actually.
Yes.
In this essay, I will prove, and like we all have to sit through it, and that's the problem.
/question mark.
Exactly.
Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you, Matthew, for that. That was really great, and thank you for planting that seed. I can't. There are too many stars to name. I just had such a good time with this session. Thank you for indulging my questions and some of the weirdness that we got into. That being said, it felt really Star Trek. I really love how one of the things I just love about playing in Star Trek is like the lore is almost secondary to the tropes, and as long as you stick with the tropes, it'll feel like Star Trek. So I don't care like what the Romulans are, but you know, just sort of the idea of you know, making contact with an alien species or learning their language or things like that. Like it just feels very Star Trek-y to me. So I'm, and we're all leaning way into it. I'm so grateful for it. Though I have to say, Matthew, I think Victus's conversation with Idris Elba is definitely a highlight for me. I just felt like that was so something we would have seen on one of these TV shows, no doubt. Just this moment where it's kind of this goofy sci-fi action, and then all of a sudden a deep philosophical conversation with Whoopi Goldberg. You know, it just felt like such a thing. So thank you for leading into that with me. And I'm going to be hard pressed to come up with any wishes other than I'm sad I only made this 4 sessions, because I like this crew. I feel like we could tell another 4 sessions of maybe another time. So that would be my only wish.
Let's save this character keeper then.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't throw anything away. So
Yeah.
all right, friends. Letting you go a little early. Is it okay if I post this recording? Everyone good with posting the recording? It seems like I'm actually getting to it. So thank you for that. And I will see you all next week.
Posting recordings, getting over snail phobia. Look at all this growth.
This has been a great month for Dan.
This is good. Okay. See you
All right,
guys
friends.
next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.